Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Haha, thank you. The topic for today's sharing is why I prayed to God and asked Him not to heal my impediment. My name is Kevin. My surname is Phun, Phun, and I have a stutter. And I've had this stutter since I was maybe 17 years old, which means in my teens or late teens. I'm a teacher, or one of the main things that I do in my day, or rather as my main job is I teach. I do a few other things, but this is more or less the job that I have spent the longest time in, and the one that most people knew me by. And interestingly, this is a job that requires me to speak or have a fluency in speech. I have a stutter, and I consider that as an impediment, which I think is also the technically is the right word to use. So I have this speech impediment, and I have had it for 44 minus 16, 28 years, or close to 28 years. It is tough to live a life where you stutter. It is not easy to live a life where every sentence that comes out from your mouth potentially doesn't really sound very smooth. Everywhere I go, I have more or less to rehearse what I want to say, from ordering food to what I want to respond to people who speak with me. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's by God's grace that I can speak in this podcast relatively fluent or smooth. There was a period of quite some years where I prayed and prayed for God to heal me. While I don't claim to say this prayer every day, and I'll tell you why. Because there's this side of me which feels that if He heals me one fine day, let's say next year when I turn 45, then I may not have a very strong testimony to share. And so in the last few years, after occasionally or quite often praying for healing, I quite often pray to God, asking Him to help me overcome this stutter. Or at times I use the word heal this stutter, heal this impediment. 2 or 3 years back, I suddenly have this thought that perhaps healing it would not be in my best of interest. Perhaps I should ask God not to heal it, but let it stay, but give me the strength to fight against it. Sometimes I may lose, sometimes I may win, most times I will win. And a few years ago, I had this thought, and at times I feel strange. How come I have this thought that I should not be praying for God to heal me? It feels strange, but as time went by, I guess you can say as my faith matured a little bit more, it suddenly dawned on me, became clearer and clearer to myself that the decision to pray and ask God not to heal could be the right one, could be a good one. I don't know if God intends to heal, but if I may ask Him, I will ask Him now. Although I must say that I'm not 100% convinced, I'm only maybe 93 or 94% convinced that this is my prayer from now on, this is my wish from now on, that He don't heal me from my stutter. Do not heal me from the stutter, or at least do not heal me 100%. Let me go on and stutter, because the occasional stutter will do me good. And I tell you why. This will be the main crux of the message. If God heals me totally, I may become a changed person. I will then have a newfound fluency or smoothness in my speech, and I may well forget about how I struggle, forget about the journey that I've been going on this 20-something years. Because once I have this newfound goodness in my speech, this smoothness in my speech, human nature is that most likely I will not be able to speak of it as if I'm still fighting against it, and my testimonies in places where I go and share will not be so real. I may become arrogant, I may become more proud, I may become snobbish, because by then I can speak smoothly. I can have a real good argument with people. And so the reasons or the causes for me to ask God not to heal, the reasons for God not to heal me or not to heal me completely has become clearer and clearer the last few years. Let me fight this impediment, because whenever I fight against it, which is every day, especially when I have to speak like this, when I have to speak in the classroom, I feel the fight. I draw on God's strength to help me fight against the tension that I will always have, the glossophobia, that is the extreme nerves that I will have, which I discovered has contributed quite a large part to my stutter for many years. I have these extreme nerves, and I'm sorry I didn't mention it from the start. It slipped my mind to say it. And so there are very strong reasons to ask God not to heal me completely. I need this stutter in my life to ground me, to keep me humble. I need it to discover that I still have a lot of faith that I currently do not have yet. I need the presence of this stutter to remind me that I must fight, and I must fight in the Spirit of Jesus Christ. So my dear friends, wherever you are, whichever part of the world you could be in, I pray and hope this little story will, if not inspire you, at least give you something to think about. It's Friday night, 6th of November 2020, and I wish you well. I wish you a good week. Goodbye.